Welcome to the Off the Track Initiative podcast, the podcast dedicated to bringing a more modern, conscious perspective to the re-educating and rehabilitating of off-the-track thoroughbreds. My name is Kate LeMay Robbins, thoroughbred racing steward, dressage enthusiast, and thoroughbred advocate. Each fortnight, I will be sharing with you inspirational stories and knowledge from a variety of professionals who are on a mission to make a difference within the equestrian world. Welcome to the Off the Track Initiative podcast. My name's Kate LeMay Robbins, thoroughbred racing steward, dressage enthusiast, and all-round thoroughbred advocate. I thought I'd take some time to record an introduction episode to tell you a little bit more about what this podcast will be about, where the idea for it eventuated, and a bit about my own background. So I guess a good place to probably start would be the beginning. For those of you who don't know me, I was adopted from South Korea when I was about 3 months old, into a very non-horsey family. I think when I was about 3 years old, I went to a circus and they were doing Shetland pony rides during intermission, and I went down to ride one of the ponies, and from that minute was absolutely hooked on the idea of horses. Thankfully, my parents encouraged the idea and I was allowed to have riding lessons, and when I was 16, I think, I started to look for a job to support my very expensive hobby and ended up down at the track. Although 4 a.m. starts when I deal as a teenager, I really felt like I found my people and I found my place at that time. And even throughout my life, as I've gone through different jobs and different uni degrees, I've always ended up back at the track. And I'm really fortunate to say that now I have a job that revolves around racing and thoroughbreds, and it is my life. Also throughout this time, my other huge passion and love was dressage, and I had a great riding coach who taught me how to ride from the start and still to this day gives me lessons. So it's been a long friendship, learning curve, partnership, and I'm very fortunate to have had her in my life. But of course, being down at the track, I was often getting off the track thoroughbreds and taking them once I'd finished racing, all my favorites, and riding them and sort of retraining them as dressage horses. And I found them to be one of the most obliging horses that I'd ever worked with. So a lot of dressage riders have warm bloods who are sort of purpose bred for dressage, but I found the thoroughbreds to have a completely different attitude, and one that I really liked and really enjoyed working with. Anyway, fast forward many years, I had my own property and had an agister there who went through her own tough time. Personal circumstances meant that she couldn't keep her horse anymore, and he was a lovely off-the-track thoroughbred. He'd been off the track for quite a while, but she ended up giving him to me because she couldn't look after him anymore. At this point in my life, I wasn't looking for another horse, but did want to help him, and I'd gotten very attached to him because I saw him every day, obviously, and so offered to take him and rehome him, which I did. Unfortunately, the home he went to wasn't suitable, and I wasn't aware of this at the time, and he ended up being put to sleep without me knowing, and I was quite upset when I found this out. And it made me really think about how many horses finish racing and go on to try and pursue other careers after racing, but also find themselves in homes that may not completely understand the thoroughbred, what they go through while they're racing, and the best way to manage them once they're finished, because they are a really unique horse. So they are my absolute favorite breed. I get to watch them really from the sales through their jump outs, through their trials, and then often follow their progress when they finish racing. And for me, it's something that I think needs to be talked about a little bit more, because they are such a unique horse. And I guess this is where the idea for the podcast came from the bad circumstance of losing a horse to an unsuitable home, that I wanted to get out there, interview a whole heap of people, learn their stories, how they got involved with thoroughbreds, their training techniques, what they advise, talk to vets, nutritionists, people from a huge range of disciplines, in the hope that people out there with off-the-track thoroughbreds can listen and they might really associate with a certain story or not. And I guess just for me, the best saying that I've heard is knowledge is power. And the more we can talk about it and educate, the better hope there is for thoroughbreds out there getting the right attention and help that they need, because, they're born to do a certain job and they do it very well. But then when they come off the track, they need to change their whole lives. They need to let down there's so much that goes on for them. And I think it's a big ask for them, but it's also a big ask for the people that take them on. But I think the more that we understand about them, I hope the better we can help them. So I know I've ended up rambling a little bit, and I apologize for that, but it is something that I'm really passionate about. And I hope that you enjoy the stories that I have to bring you from a huge variety of disciplines and professionals, all that relate back to thoroughbreds and racing and how to re-educate them once they come off the track. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. All right, thank you.